Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, the Acting Ambassador of the United States in Nigeria and the Charge d'Affaires, partners in this ICOMOS project, we call it the ICOMOS project, my elder brother, the Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, and particularly my sister, Hajiya Hannatu. Unlike our elder brother, I was not looking for you. In my own case, I've lost touch with you for a very long time, but I have decided not to look for you so that I don't become one of the distractors that will take you away from doing the good job that you are doing. But it's good to see you here. I bring you greetings from Duane P. Fraser, the president of the American University of Nigeria and Yola. I bring you greetings from Dr. Abdul Iman, the Chief Executive Officer of the Atiku Institute for Development. American University of Nigeria is a unique university. We are a development university, and we say it with pride, and we capitalize the development. Because we are charting a new course in education, where we are moving young people from receiving conventional education by integrating them into the community and getting them to have a feel of what the community looks like and what is expected of them to give back to the community at the end of their training. So we produce leaders that are already ingrained with community service and humanitarian service. For AUN, our interaction with the American people through the U.S. Embassy and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is legendary. I can confidently brag that in the last 4 years, we have successfully executed projects across a spectrum of humanitarian endeavor. We successfully delivered the SENSE project, age grade reading, and we did a human job of it. USAID can testify. We are into OTL. OTL is opportunities to learn. We are a sub-partner in that gigantic project that USAID is funding. We are also on the LAN project, Learn to Read. What we are doing is we are charting a new course in the most disadvantaged communities in Nigeria, where the most prized position that a human being can have, which is education, happens to be a mirage to a number of our people. This is why in northern Nigeria, I, coming from Kaduna State, my sister Hannatu Musa was with me in Kaduna State before we are divided and they were sent to Kazana. Excuse me. Professor Kabir is also the Vice Chancellor of ABU and is in Kaduna State. We are part of the sad story in this country, where the people with the highest level of illiteracy are among our people. Because of that, we cannot give back because we didn't know how to do that. What we are doing in American University of Nigeria is to bridge that gap and ensure that any student who passes through the crucible of training in American University will come out with an additional incentive of being a community development practitioner. Now, and what encourages us to continue to do that, Your Excellency, is when students come in, there's a course we call AUN 101. We take them to the field and we ingrain them in the communities. Some of these students see poverty for the first time in their lives. That is usually the turning point and where they make the critical decision. Most of them will go back, will send messages back to their parents to come over and pay school fees for children that cannot go to school. And we think that with that kind of interaction with the community, the AUN community has become a critical component of the communities that surround it. You can attest to that any day, anytime, anywhere. Today, AUN is part of this consortium that is going to run this Sukuk project for the next 2 years. Now, in AUN, we pride ourselves as being an environment that has all that you can look for. The ambience in the environment, depicts the name of the university, which is American University, in terms of technology, in terms of human resources, in terms of the wherewithal to get things done. Everything is there in American University of Nigeria. And to underscore that, in the next few days, we are going to be hosting the first training and the launch of the project in our campus for about 5 days in Adamawa. And we hope that those who are going to come will come and see what AUN is like, what our resources are, the kind of resources that we have available. And if we have the chance, we'll take you to school. Because if you go to school and you climb up and you come down, then you get the feel of exactly what we are going to do on this project. The president of ICOMOS mentioned that Sukkur was attacked in 2014, and that was the only attack. Because the attackers cannot go back. Why? Because God Almighty, who created Sukkur, has placed Sukkur in a place that if you go there for evil purpose for the first time, you cannot come back for the second time, because you will not succeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we are on the road to helping our country rediscover some of the critical monuments that make life meaningful, and they are scattered all over Nigeria. There are so many of them. In fact, AUN is looking towards exploring very many of them that are in different parts of this country. In Kaduna State, in Plateau State, you just have all kinds of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier on, I will not close, but make a disclaimer. You know, the ambassador mistakenly called me a professor, and Sister Hannatu also called me a professor. Well, I think that, you know, I don't want a situation where the president of AUN will see a write-up and he will say, Salisu, when did you become a professor? Why did you go to the US Embassy and you call yourself a professor? So please, for those of you that are going to be writing, please remember, leave me as doctor. In fact, if you don't remember the doctor, just take it out. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to be here to represent AUN in this very, very important gathering. And I want to say thank you, just like my other colleagues have said, to the US Embassy. And again, sorry, let me just add this. You know, the advantage of speaking last is that you can pick up the minutes that other people left, and then you can run with it. USAID will be celebrating 60 years of developmental partnership with Nigeria very soon. Part of some of the things we are doing at AUN is trying to be part of that. And for somebody like me who is standing here, in the past 17, 18 years, I have been involved in about 5, 6, 7 different USAID projects, from the level of program, senior program manager, to deputy chief of party, to chief of party, to country director, and what have you. So, USAID, American Embassy, for us in development world here, is our home. They are our partners, and we hope to help you celebrate the 60 years and take the word out there so that people will hear from the mouth of those of us who benefited and the community that you touched with all the multitude of work that has been done over the past 60 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have stolen enough of the minutes that have been left. So let me stop here and say thank you very much. I hope that we are going to have a very successful project.
Ages in 132 countries and territories. ICOMOS Nigeria, with its 141 members, is the largest committee on the continent. Its members include lawyers, architects, historians, archaeologists, art historians, geographers, anthropologists, engineers, and town planners, just to mention a few. ICOMOS works for the conservation and protection of architectural and archaeological heritage. It is the only global, non-governmental organization of its kind. ICOMOS Nigeria, with the funding from the Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation, got the blessing of the Hidi of Sukkur, with will undertake a 2-year conservation and preservation project in collaboration with the National Commissions for Museums and Monuments, the institution responsible for the management of the country's World Heritage Sites. It will work with the American University of Nigeria in Yola, a leading institution in addressing development issues in Nigeria, and a hub for project activities in Adamawa State. It will work with Ahmadu Bello University with its experienced and supportive administration and prominent Department of Archaeology and Heritage Studies. International institutions which will contribute to achieving the project objectives include the Washington State University, University of Calgary, and Factum Foundation. I would like to point out that when tragic earthquake struck Turkey and Syria in 2022, when the museums and cathedrals in Ukraine were first struck with Russian bombs, when the historic sites of Pakistan were devastated by floods last year, when the Notre Dame of Paris was engulfed in fire, ICOMOS is one of the first organizations called to the scene to provide the first aid to a nation's battered heritage. It is based on this that the UNESCO's World Heritage Site of Sukkur in Adamawa State, when it was attacked by Boko Haram in 2014, ICOMOS was one of the first organizations that were called. To this end, many organizations and people of goodwill have worked with the state and federal government and the community to rebuild the structures and buildings which were damaged or destroyed. But more importantly, these organizations work together to support and rebuild the lives and mending of relationships. When you talk about heritage, it's about the people. This project, which we have conceived today through the Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation, will conserve Sukkur's cultural landscape, and it aims to do the following: build and strengthen relationship between the community in partners. It will conduct fieldwork and research. It will address damage of the heritage through basic conservation work. It will provide technical assistance to revive threatened traditional crafts such as the thatching and iron smelting and the Sukkur Sakun language, which are important to the community identity and economic well-being. It will create outreach and media activities to celebrate the Sukkur heritage. In the past years, ICOMOS have engaged experts on the issues of climate change and how it has affected Sukkur's outstanding universal value. We have conserved the oldest earthen church in Wusasa, Zaria, and conducted workshops that focused on the transfer of indigenous knowledge systems to our undergraduate students. ICOMOS Nigeria is always ready to support the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Industry in its mission to protect and promote our culture. It is on this note, Your Excellency, the Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to say a big thank you to the American Fund for Cultural Preservation. Without this fund, we wouldn't be able to carry out the work as partners. And we hope that this will not be the last. It's just the beginning. And through these funds and more funds to come, ICOMOS will be able to carry out its duties and protect Nigeria's heritage. Thank you.
Let ABU's commitment to support Nigeria's quest to protect and promote its cultural heritage. In this regard, I'd like to mention that this is the fourth Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation with the NCMM. The first one was the REORG, if we recall, the reorganization of museum collections. and then the rock art, the ones that they were attended the exhibition, I think in Lagos, there was exhibition in Calabar and Jos. I learned that the next exhibition is Zaria, next month or this month. And then the digital preservation in Area House and now Sukur, for which we appreciate deeply the support of the U.S. Fund for Cultural Preservation. And AB will support with expertise in all the required fields as contained in the MOU. We once more appreciate the U.S. Embassy for this grant, and we shall do what we can to continue to train the capital for the nation in the fields of heritage and conservation. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Well, before I start, I must say the very disadvantage of approaching or overcoming the twilight of your life is the deterioration of eyesight. And when I came in here, I didn't actually notice my older brother, my uncle, and my mentor and someone that I've always looked up to, Professor Kabiru Bala, the Vice Chancellor of ABU. I actually didn't see you, it was just now. Thank you for being here. And of course, another mentor and older brother, Dr. Salihu El Mohammed Lawal. Thank you. And I must also mention Dr. Oluwatoyin